Hey guys, welcome to Meet the Fighter. Today we have Boo to join us. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So, what do you enjoy the most in your deck of playstyle right now?
Honestly, the guard breaks. Like, I like the guard break combos. If I break your guard, it gets off a lot of damage. I like being in the face too, like very up person close enough. You know, kind of being in their shit a lot.
Show us your deck. How does it work?
So basically, most of your fast stuff is in your alternate. The top right string here, I usually start with inside kick, and then it goes down into face back fist or back ura. So it kind of hits kind of quick off of the start there, but really the pressure is mainly to just have this option and go into here, which is face back fist, and then follow it up with back ura. I can also pressure with cleaver here a little bit. Wobble low is that alternate there, again another fast move. My main string, that's kind of like the staple, is my back right, where I just sit here. Obviously the underknee and the Mawashi there is a little risky. But my favorite string is just to kind of do all of this together, and then it loops around for you. So it kind of keeps it simple and keeps up pace.
And how do you play it?
I usually play with like a kind of like a aggressive, but like I switch on and off of my aggression, if you will. Most of the time, if I want to play range, which I usually don't, but if I want to play range, I'll play with my front kick a little bit, or I'll try to engage with that reaching Mawashi there. When it comes to actually like being aggressive, obviously, like I said, this here will kind of keep me in their face and allow their pressure, a lot. But at the same time, is that I can get this out and then wait to block. Like I'll usually throw an attack out, block just to see what they're gonna do. Throw an attack out, and especially if I'm fighting invasion, getting ready for those front jabs that they have. There's a lot that can kind of really mess me up. 10 frames are pretty rough, but obviously you just block and then eventually you'll be fine, because they don't have too much stamina drain, etc. I think this deck is pretty much good all around. A lot of people hate the good old axe kick because obviously there's gut punch that is significantly better and more efficient, which I totally agree with, let it be known. But I most definitely just love axe kick just landing, even if like my guard break combo does go off. Like if I break their guard, let's say I break their guard with back ura, I can just temple knock axe kick into wobble low, and it gives like a significant amount of damage. But at the same time, there's also front kick here, which I can break a guard with eventually, obviously, and if I do, I have the option to do spinning high kick into twist back kick, or I can do wobble low rather into face back fist back ura. And those like those guard break combos that I kind of get most of my damage off of because the deck itself doesn't really have too much pressure without getting punched or jabbed out. But it kind of hits pretty heavy sometimes too. If I can get real good breaks off, and making my opponents make mistakes is really where this thrives, because they'll be in your shit majority of the time. And then, if I pressure that stamina plenty enough, eventually I'm gonna get through to you. So, but I definitely like to play it on the quicker side, and then kind of switch off the heat really fast, so that way I can see what I'm doing and kind of maneuver around my opponent. I think the only ones I really struggle with are definitely cults with this deck, just because I don't have much to really stop or speed up with them, especially if a cult has like a 11 or 10 frame, that'll get them out of it. But if they do use a hyper armor move, this I can get inside kick and duck, I can get back ura and duck, temple knock and duck, so I can get that first hit off of that armor if I'm fast enough, and then avoid that move. So it's pretty well rounded, I'd say. It's not the most optimal, quote unquote, but it works pretty well. It's a good staple, and it helps a lot of at least newer players get the understanding of their whole fast string does not have to be in their left hand side. It can go into their alternates and like mess around. So I've taught a couple people things about that as well. So, but it's pretty cool.
And how do you play against other styles?
Specifically other styles like Phajin. Again, I kind of just Phajin. Ideally, I should play with more range, but I like to go toe to toe with Phajin, even if it costs me the game. It's just most fun. Obviously, Phajin, you know, the flashy style. You know, they got the parries, the dodges, the slips, and everything, and all that good stuff. But just going up against Phajin is just so much fun that I like to kind of be in their face as much as they would like to be in mine, and really push that like windfall stamina regen or stamina gain off of the avoids, and kind of getting those clutch, you know, plays, if you will. Cult, I try to play a bit more patiently because usually they'll have some type of hyper armor move, so I'll kind of sit back and, you know, let them do their thing and try to play a little bit of range with them. I don't try to rely on front kick too often, but obviously, you know, the good old guard break move is definitely good for Cult. When it comes against Stagger is pretty easy in general for this. If they're going crazy and they're getting all in my face with, you know, 10 frames, sharp impact, whatever, and I'll just sit and hang out for a bit until they kind of create an opening or I see a rhythm in their pattern, and I kind of just hop in on that. Forsaken, I mean, you don't really fight too many Forsakens, but I do fight Ars Doti, good old guy. So they're pretty good with catching up with this, and honestly, this deck with Forsaken class actually doesn't work too bad. Obviously, Forsaken broken and busted, but it actually goes pretty well with it just because of the speed that you can kind of get off with it, with the parry, etc. But Forsaken, I'll definitely will play in the same like sense of just being in their face as well, because at the same time, Forsaken suffers from, you know, making that mistake parry leaves them wide open. And if I just do like a, you know, inside kick and they feint, boom, I can probably do that and get away with it. Not always guaranteed, but if they block it, it does put stamina pressure on, and I can still hit that back, or that allows me to go into my chain. Same thing with Cleaver here, because Cleaver into the reaching Mawashi definitely messes with them, because if they go for the Cleaver and I, you know, step cancel into it, you know, it'll and they go for that parry and they miss, that's another Cleaver coming in their way, or a wobble low, or a reaching Mawashi, and then that allows me again to gain my momentum and get more pressure in and more damage in. So when it comes to different styles, it's just kind of, it really also depends on the type of player as well, because not every Phajin is aggressive, not every Forsaken is aggressive, etc. But pretty good stuff.
Makes me happy that you like Phajin matchups, because the last two that I asked don't like Phajin, and I'm Phajin.
Oh really? I just like it's like that Dragon Ball Z kind of feel of like, it's so intense and like in your face and fast paced, you know?
Yeah, those fights were really intense.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
You're trying to improve something?
Yeah, honestly, I really, like, I've been actually working, not even with this deck, but I just been kind of like getting a feel more so. I picked up Phajin recently, within like the past couple of like maybe month or two. Just trying to like learn the style itself, because I was like so afraid to learn Phajin because of the like forced stance change, if you will, whenever you use your slips and stuff like that, so I wasn't comfortable with it. And like having to learn how to like put the deck in place for like that specific stuff, and like it kind of just got in my head, so I eventually asked my friend Mo to help me out with like a simple deck that I can just work with to learn Phajin, and I finally picked it up. It's not bad, you know. That's probably like the main thing I've been working on, is just learning new styles. I did Cult, I did Forsaken was my first style, Cult was my next, and then I did Windfall, and then Phajin was the only other one that I haven't touched. I don't really count Stagger. I don't really plan on like playing Stagger, as personal preference. Maybe one day if I want to get that achievement. But yeah, I think that's basically the main thing I'm working on right now, is just learning Phajin and like being comfortable in that in that ability rather, or that class rather. And I'm jumping in a lot of tournaments lately. Like, I've never done any tournaments before, like, period. I'm also technically fairly new to the game. I've been playing for about like a year or so. But I've been jumping in, like, I think I'm in 2 tournaments right now coming up, and I was in 1 previously, so it's pretty fun.
I'm gonna get Mo in the episode for sure once.
Yeah, he's a good one.
So let's do some fights to see it in action.
Sounds good.